welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I will be your host through October. It's spooky time. It's sneaking about time. It's potentially, if you're on the other side of the law, it's potentially not only sneaking about, but maybe potentially, lifting things out of people's pockets, maybe slightly stealing other things, maybe planning something like a robbery or a heist or something like that. But you gotta watch out, because if you do get caught by the police, you gotta make sure that your band is tight, that nobody is gonna talk, that nobody is gonna end up being a snitch. Because joining me today from Slight Games, we're gonna be talking about the Kickstarter project called Snitch, and to tell us all about it, to tell us about the mechanics, and to tell us a bit about themselves, I've got Robert, I've got Hi, and I've got Sean from Slight Games. So, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good. How you all doing? You well?
Yeah, we're excited.
Yes. Yes.
Scared?
Because I was wondering, if we can't see each other, how do we ask questions? So I was wondering if you're gonna, I was going to say, if you want to answer a question, just raise your hand, and then I realised that that's not going to work either, because, nobody can see each other, so that's just going to fail drastically. Well, the campaign is doing quite well. I mean, you got 18 days to go. You are about, over 80% at the target just now.
Yeah.
So, kind of what's kind of mood like in camp at the moment? Hi.
Well, we're just watching the numbers and making sure that we make it and we can bring the game to all the backers that have supported us. Thank you, all the backers.
Yeah. Yes, thank you everybody who's back so far. I guess for everybody who's joining us for the first time, hello, and thank you for joining us. The reason that we do this is because we've done over 200 of these episodes now, and our intention is to keep on going like an iceberg until it maybe hits a ship. And in order to do that, we want to bring you the best guests and the best content that we can find. So I put a little shout out on the Kickstarter Facebook page and asked if anybody was interested in coming on and talking about their project. And Hi said, yeah, we've got a project just now. Is there any chance you could fit us in? And we've chatted back and forward and we've worked on it, and which is why these lovely gentlemen are on the other end of the internet web's talkie pipe, as you would say. So, tell us, for yourselves, have you all been kind of like gaming long? How did you get to know each other? First of all, how did you kind of all meet? I guess is probably the best question.
We were all at university, and I literally found myself living next to Hi in first year, and then got to know the other two guys, Sean and Michael, who are the co-founders behind Slight, and actually it was at university that we pretty much got to playing board games and starting off pretty much with Settlers of Catan, as is probably a relatively common journey.
I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't Monopoly.
No, gosh.
Well,
a few very bad games of Monopoly. There was some dereg versions of Monopoly that occurred.
Oh, yeah. You played Monopoly? I already erased that from my memory. I honestly don't remember that.
So we woke up the next morning. Went, guys, what do we do? Well, I've got this. Oh, man, I think we played Monopoly. Oh, oh, you've got that traffic cone. I have. But I've also got the little silver doggy next to me on my pillow. I don't know what to do with it.
Throw it
Did
away.
it just, did it turn, was it like a kind of a social thing? Kind of like an easy way for you guys to kind of introduce yourselves to each other and kind of get to know each other, was to play like a board game and have a chat, and it was that kind of, did it kind of help your guys' kind of friendship at the beginning?
Perhaps. I think
Hellbarkinder.
Yeah. I think I actually started off with a cooking session, I believe.
Let's not start with that.
Yeah.
These three turned up and literally trashed the kitchen, and I got left to clean it up. That was how I first met them.
That was the true start of the friendship.
Yeah. And then we became friends. Who knew?
Pancake day.
Yeah.
It's obviously somebody's not quite got over the whole trash in the kitchen thing, because there was a little bit detected a little bit, potentially a small amount of bitterness still there, kind of in the background. Did you play kind of staying board games throughout kind of university together? I mean, what were you guys studying? First of all, were you all studying the same thing, or were you doing different kind of subjects, Sean?
So I was computer science.
Right, okay.
I did maths and computer science.
And I did philosophy, politics, and economics.
Right, okay.
And Mike
so
was,
just all you
Mike was straight maths.
Right, okay.
Who's the odd one out?
In. All of you. Anyway. Did you continue with the board games kind of throughout university then?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we played all sorts of different things. Made up a few of our own kind of short card games as well.
All right, okay.
Because by third year we were making up very weird, complicated games using a 54 card deck.
Yep.
So there's a laugh there. So tell me about these games. I want to give us an example of one of these games that you put together, guys.
Well, I think one of the lesser successful ones was a racing game. We tried to...
Which you shall not name.
Yeah, which we, for copyright reasons, cannot name, but it was, what's the word? The desire to go fast, shall we say.
Is it Need for Speed?
Oh, well,
Need for Speed.
You said it, not us.
Okay, they're not going to come after me again. Need for Speed, Fast and Furious, you know. I mean, what are they going to do? They've not got any money, you know. Yeah. It's not like we're going to profit over Need for Speed. I mean, let's face it, the last game was fairly terrible, guys. You know, let's talk about your cinematics and your kind of slightly disappointing kind of driving kind of things. So, Need for Speed. So you did a Need for Speed game, obviously copyright to whoever that is.
Yeah, well, the copyright wasn't the issue. The issue was that it was a really terrible game. But it had lots of it had lots of nitrous in it, but that turned out didn't make, you know, isn't what makes Need for Speed good.
Wasn't half the deck nitrous?
Yeah, literally. I think so, yeah. But
did somebody just go, what can we do to make this better? Oh, we could add more nitrous oxide. And it's like, yeah, okay, let's have 27 cards in the deck.
And then we figured out, that didn't make the game better.
Did you primarily stay around card games because they were easy to kind of put together because of the cost? I think it was because kind of branching out into kind of other types of games, was that kind of like, well, starting to get more complicated, you need to spend a little bit of time kind of putting stuff together. Is that kind of how that kind of worked then?
Well, back at university we weren't really thinking of publishing anything, I guess. It was more just making games up for fun.
At the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's really the last couple of years where we've started to think about publishing a game. And
But I guess we stayed true to the prototyping sort of mottos, like to keep it cheap. So we just stuck with the 52 card deck and tried to make different games from that, which was fun. Kind of unintentionally.
What did you do? Did you actually just draw over the cards with like a marker or something like that, or did you stick kind of printed out pieces of paper to it?
No, we just remembered it. So I think the other game that went a bit better was another game based on, we just say it, Battle Royale.
Yes. Right, okay, yeah. Okay.
And
classic film.
It was hilarious, because we would always have to remember that 9 was a sickle, I believe, for example. Do we have jetpacks? We have
Kings
jetpacks.
were the Uzis.
Yeah. Kings was a gun. If you had 2, that would be a Uzi.
If you didn't have a gun, you were screwed.
Oh, 2 to 5 was bullets.
Yep, 2 to 5 was bullets. And
Jack was armor?
Yeah.
I think Jack was it health?
Armor? No,
armor.
I thought...
Perhaps, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, Jack was health, 10 was armor.
Yeah. Bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
I would just remember it. So whenever I see a 10 nowadays, I just think bulletproof vest.
My favourite bit was 6, 7, 8, which was essentially rock, paper, scissors as a mini-game in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah. So we added a rock, paper, scissors mini-game into it just because... Did we not know what to do with those guys? Oh, yeah, we tried several iterations and we decided that rock, paper, scissors was...
Because they started off being the only cards that could arm the bomb, right? But then every card could arm the bomb in the end.
Yes.
This is another sub-game within the game where you could just randomly arm the bomb with any card, and if the bomb went off, all players died.
It sounded like a journey, guys. I mean, it sounded like you started off with like 52 cars and you just went somewhere with it. Did you write any of these rules down, or is this stuff that you've just kind of like remembered? Is it all written down?
We have version history as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a spreadsheet that tracks the different. Yeah.
Of course you're a computer scientist and you've got a maths guy there as well. Of course you're going to be, and then the philosophy guy would just sit there and worry, why are we not doing this properly? Is this morally correct what we're doing? We better write everything down. Okay, so can other people play this game then? If you had the rules, other people could have a shot? Or are you keeping this maybe for a kind of a different game for slight games then? I guess my question is, out of all these kind of games that you mucked around with, yeah, and I know you played the kind of the real games for kind of fun, but that's two little games. Have you thought about kind of bringing them back at a later date, seeing as you've got version numbers and you've got spreadsheets and you've got everything like that? Is that kind of a plan to dig back into the old slight games back catalogue to see what you can kind of drench up?
Maybe. But we've also got quite a lengthy forward catalogue dreamt up as well. Yeah. So our plan was with Snitch to start out with a simple party game and get the feel for how Kickstarters work. And if it's successful, then gradually build up something a bit more complex.
Yeah, okay. So, when you all finished university, I'm assuming you all finished with flying number 1s and 2-1s and everything like that, and you all wore gowns and graduated with lots of honours and walked into fantastic careers and everything like that. Obviously you stayed friends during that process. So, did you all, from that, when you're getting jobs, you're staying friends, were you then kind of starting to expand your board game collections yourselves then? Or with you being friends, have you got your own separate collections, or do you have like a group collection of games, or do you just share games about so much that you don't even realise which games are which and whose games belong to who?
Well, so we do have a group collection that belongs 99% to Robert.
All right, okay.
So I guess I'll let Robert explain
that.
I
seem to be the collector.
Yes.
Yes.
Give Robert the speaking stick. So you can tell us.
Raise your hand first.
I feel like I was the teacher in the games for the rules.
Yeah.
And somehow I became the collector, therefore, of the games. And I now have a pile, which is quite large.
Yeah.
And maybe a basement.
How many games do you buy per hour?
It's not on a per hour basis.
Feels like
it was taken 10 years to build up.
Let him speak. Robert.
Yeah.
How many games have you got roughly? You're among friends. There's only just
it's like Board Games Anonymous.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, except it's going in front of about a couple of hundred people. It's just going to be private, just between you and us. But how many games have you got, Robert?
Hi, I'm Robert, and I have 168 games, not including expansions.
Thank you for sharing, Robert. Everybody give Robert a round of applause. Come on. Give him a round of applause. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, guys. It feels good.
It's always good to share. How many of them have you played?
About 162 of them. I've got a few that have come through recently that have been Kickstarters that just dropped in the last couple of weeks that I'm yet to play.
Oh, okay. I must admit I colour myself impressed, because usually when I say to people, how many games have you got? And they say, well, I've got 100. How many have you played? 45. All the rest are really expensive cardboard ornaments, basically, that I haven't managed to get to the kind of the table. So are you kind of like the main kind of collector then, Robert? You mentioned kind of Kickstarter. So what games have you had kind of drop recently that you're obviously looking forward to playing?
Endeavour Age of Sail, which I have played once, but I'm looking forward to a few more games of.
I played that a couple of weeks ago myself, and we had Mark Spector on the show, and I didn't realise Mark Spector was involved in Endeavour Age of Sail. So I mentioned it, and then he went, "Oh, I was involved in that," and I was like, "Ah!" It's really good. It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, the first go I had of it was awesome, so I'm very excited about that one.
Yes.
Too Many Bones, which I've just got through the door this week. But I've played the computer version, but not played the full physical version, and haven't played Undertow yet, obviously either. So I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else you got coming in? Do you back a lot then?
Yeah, I think I've backed 46 projects overall now on Kickstarter. I think I've got Crisis coming in soon. Yeah, so there's I quite like Kickstarter. It's a good, I think it's a good system.
Yeah, I mean, what about the rest of you guys? Do you kind of like back Kickstarter at all yourselves? Kind of Sean, hi. Do you kind of dip your toes in, or do you just say, well, Robert's going to back it, so we'll not bother?
A bit of both. But yeah, I mostly rely on Robert to get to play new games. I do back a few myself, and obviously I think a Kickstarter is a great platform for various reasons.
Yeah.
So that's Robert kind of after UKG.
All right, okay.
I usually just pick up a couple of games at Essen or UKG. I don't usually back too many of the Kickstarters. But I might start looking into it a bit more. Trouble is, Robert's backed most of them already, so feels duplicitous.
It's the point, isn't it? It's like that. It's like, I'm going to get a new iPhone X. Don't bother, Robert's got them already. I mean, it's all right. I'm going to go and pick up some milk. It looks like Robert's already got.
He's bought the expansion packs for milk as well. It's all that.
He's got creamer and he's got light sugar as well. Is it all right?
No
he went all in again, did he? He did. And he's also, the pledge manager's coming up, so he's potentially going to get custard creams as the additional kind of paid for expansion. That's awful because I don't even know the man and I feel like I'm insulting him, but I cannot say a thing because I have got Founders of Gloomhaven sitting here. I've got Donning the Purple sitting here. I just, somebody very kind of helped me get a hold of Vast because I promised I wasn't going to mention Root. I am going to mention Root, but I looked at Root and then I went, what else have these guys done? And then Vast came up and went, let's see what we can do. And so that's kind of sitting there kind of waiting to kind of get played. And things like the Stonebound Saga, and it's all just very embarrassing. You know, I talk more about games than I play them. It's just one of these things. But, I mean, obviously you kind of got the bug through university, sitting down, you know, obviously inventing your Fast and Furious knockoff game. I know it's called Need for Speed. I didn't, forget. But then, I mean, at what point were you sitting about and thinking, actually, guys, let's make a concerted effort here and actually see about kind of taking an idea that we had and making it into some kind of reality. I mean, when did that happen? Hi.
If I recall correctly, I think we played a game of Robinson Crusoe, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah.
And I think we didn't enjoy it as much, or some of us didn't, so I think we started thinking of how to modify it, and then we were...
I'm just going to say now we love Ignacy Treasure Check James. We're not so in Portal. We love it.
Yeah, I think it must have been a combination of because it was not the only game we played that day. We probably played like a million that day. So it was towards the end of the day. We probably got tired, wasn't really focused. So we started modifying it, and then
keep digging.
It's okay. They don't listen. It's fine. It's not like it's
I
not
can
like
literally see Board Game Insider now, just like taking this to pieces and podcast. It'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's going to be headlines. You're going to be trending on Twitter. Slight Games, Robinson Crusoe, hatred, the hashtag, and then you're going to be right up at number 1.
I think we just got the winter cloud at the end of term 5, and we just wanted to bury our heads in the sand. I don't know what happened.
There was much wailing and gnashing of teeth. One of my friends, friend of the show, Steve, he's got Robinson Crusoe, and we're going to be playing it in the next couple of weeks when we arrange for it to come along. And he says it's fantastic. So guys, you're wrong. Just saying, it's just an opinion. Goodness. But no, I mean, all joking aside, you obviously you made some modifications to Robinson Crusoe, and then you decided to, I guess, kind of work on your own game then? Is that how it kind of happened?
No, we'll talk about the origin of the name Slight.
I think we'll come to that, yeah. I just want to clarify, we didn't think that we could make a better game than Robinson Crusoe. We just...
Oh, my days.
We were just sort of experimenting.
This is fantastic. Guys.
We need to change the company name now. We definitely call Light Games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We definitely like games, yeah.
My name's Tom.
Terraforming Mars is rubbish, so there you go.
Ooh.
What?
I like Terraforming
What's
Mars.
that? Oh, it's rubbish. Come on, move along. It is. It's
right.
It's not good. It's kind of an entire game that the first hand is based around a random mechanics, and you're meant to build from that. So if you get a bad hand, you're stuffed. Come on. It's not as good as everybody says. It's just, it's not good. It's not worth the paper it's written on, even if it decided it was going to print itself on better paper. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, you see?
I feel like we should just have a go at Gloomhaven now, just for even and balance,
Oh, what a...
No, because, no, you can't. Isaac Childress is my cousin. He's coming round in the next couple of weeks. I don't want there to be some kind of awkward silence around the table when he says, "Oh yeah, you had those guys from Slight Games, those guys that mysteriously went missing after they talked about Gloomhaven on your show." I know, I have no idea, Isaac, what went on either. But anyway, what was you were going to say? Before I again defended his decision over Robinson Crusoe.
So stepping out of that.
You're stepping. Yeah,
I think we then thought, what if we what would it feel like to try to make a game and actually follow through and at the end of it produce a physical game? And at least that appealed to me because I never made anything physical. I mostly just do stuff on computers, which is all very, very well and fine, but it's not can't touch it. So I saw the appeal in that, and I thought, yeah. And I think others thought, yeah, it'd be a good idea too.
I mean, a question for you. With you being involved in the kind of the computer science side of things, why aren't you doing an app or a game, like a digital game, as opposed to actually picking up, something analog? I think, I've spoken to a lot of guys on your side that have studied IT and have started down that line of saying, right, I'm going to make my own online kind of role-playing or dungeon crawler or XYZ kind of digital game, and then they've not. I mean, was there any reason why you guys decided, well, we're going to go down the analog route instead of hitting the digital? And somebody's smirking away, so it sounds like you've tried it.
Be proud, Sean.
Usually for PC games, you need a load of artwork.
Yeah.
To make it nice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we don't really know.
So in other words,
we did start that mercenaries thing, which we basically were trying to build the combat mechanism for a computer game that we then just ended up building into a card game rather than an actual computer game. Just started prototyping out what the mechanics for the actual combat would be, and then just gave up on the coding it and just made it into a rule set that we followed as a game instead.
Okay.
And also, we want to do something as a group of friends as well. And there's only 2 of us out of 4 who are programmers, so...
I suppose.
Well, Sean does have his own game on the App Store. And
really?
What's it called? Planet Run, right?
Yeah, Planet Run. Not sure if it's still up.
Oh, right.
Might not have paid the Apple licensing fee.
But it's a cool little sort of casual game. You fly a rocket around planets and you try to jump from one orbit to the other. It's got quite a bit of skill and it's really challenging and good fun.
Yeah, it's really inspired by Kerbal Space Program. I don't know if you've heard
of
that.
Yeah. No, there's a complicated little gem of a game that if I've ever heard. Is it then because if you were wanting to get into the digital space, there was only really going to be 2 of you kind of involved in the project, whereas if it was going to be cardboard, I guess somebody's saying, well, if we move this left instead of moving right, then somebody says, well, that's fantastic, but it's going to take 4 hours of programming for me to actually get it to move from the left to the right. Whereas if somebody says, okay, I want to change this health down from a 5 to a 3, it is just a case of kind of reaching over with a black marker and scoring out the 5 and putting kind of like a 3 in its place. Does it give you, is it easier for you to get a vision that you have for a game to see that quicker than if you're doing it in a kind of like a digital kind of route instead?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we started out making this just as some blank cards and a marker pen. Just went from there.
Okay.
It just feels more accessible in a way.
I think the original Snitch was made using Dominion cards, right? I think it was Robert's idea that he just came to one day and said, hey, I've got this idea for a game. So, what was it? This market is like betray, and I don't know, I can't remember, this curse is something else, and then, and because we already got practice from Battle Royale, remembering, that Tans is this, and it felt quite natural, and we played it a couple of times and iterated on that. But yeah, the original prototype was just using Dominion cards, which is a good game.
So Robert, how have you felt that you've been obviously creating an idea and you've got 3 other people kind of riding your coattails to kind of glory? I mean,
firstly, I clearly feel very grateful that they decided not to go digital and stick with the analog for us laymen who can't code.
Exactly. Because otherwise, it's all right, guys, you code. I'm just going to sit here and think.
Yeah, pretty much.
But how did they? I mean, in all seriousness, how did the idea kind of come about? Do you remember yourself, Robert, how you kind of got the idea and where it kind of came from? Was it just like one of these flash in the pan type things, or had you been thinking about something along those lines for kind of like a while?
I mean, there was like a few iterations of this game before this game became kind of heist themed and was like multiplayer social interaction game. There was a version of it that was definitely to do with politics, that was 2-player, and that was to do with rushing to win the election, and that was literally kind of based around the primaries.
That was in a game.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the mechanics of that became stealing jewelry and art instead of winning states. So you were piling up cards on thieving jewelry rather than piling up cards to win a state. And then the concepts of that went into, okay, actually we could do this as a social deduction game which looked like this. And that's how, what was Slight Politics or whatever that name ended up as, became Snitch, vaguely.
And I mean, technically you were actually predicting the future. If you think about it that way. Were you aware you could time travel at that time? So, I mean, how many iterations did Snitch kind of go through before you went kind of locking it down? And because there's so many of you involved, and normally in this kind of situation, I'm usually speaking to one designer and they say, well, tell you what, I put something together and then I put it out to kind of play testing to see what other people kind of thought. I mean, when the 4 of you, and obviously Michael, we'll not forget Michael, almost forgot Michael, but when you were sitting down together, do you have to almost learn a little bit of a level of diplomacy on how kind of like you give feedback to each other and what they were kind of bringing to the table in terms of mechanics and ideas? And did that kind of lengthen the process, do you think?
Yeah, or
did it make it... Yeah.
Sprint planning, false reviews.
Appraisals.
Who's the boss then? Was that you, Hai, or was that?
I don't think so.
Hai, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. So
I think it's just kind of
Robert,
shared.
So were you like Thomas Edison then, Hai? You kind of like, you were just like the CEO. Robert came up with the idea and you just says, that's great, I'll have that, thanks very much, and then I'm going to tell you what to do.
It's like a Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs type thing.
Well, Edison was like a
whichever one I'm in that, I'm happy.
Edison is a baddie, right? So I don't think I should be taking this as a compliment.
I'm not.
I just I was very excited at the prospect that we have something that could work, and I just wanted us to create something. So I wouldn't say I'm the boss. CJ created the idea, and then we together sort of worked together. Everybody contributed something, and then everybody proposed something. What to do next? I believe
one of the core mechanics of generally most of our games that we create is the reveal moment where you demonstrate that you've won a hand or you've won the most money during the game or whatever. And that's definitely something Sean did ages ago in a game of Acquire or something like that, where he decided to stand up and put money down in order to demonstrate that he still had more money than everyone else at the table. And we just add it to every game now that has anything where we've collected items over the course of the game. Our method for winning is not just counting up and saying, well, I've got 22. You stand up and you're like, right, have you still got more than 5, more than 7, more than 10? And until people just sit down and there's only just one person left standing. And that was Sean's kind of thing. And I think since that, pretty much most of the games we create have some sort of big reveal moment in them because we all enjoy those.
That was like a mini game within the game.
Nice end game.
Was it a conscious choice to go for a 3-player over a kind of a 2-player? Because one of the things that I see again is 3-player games. People are I don't not sure about 3-player games because it needs 3 of us and I've only got one other friend, kind of thing. But was that again because of you guys designing it together as a team? That did the 2-player side of things? Did that just really not work as a dynamic kind of when you were playing the game?
I think just because this one's social deduction, we felt 2-player, it was just 2 zero-sum. So it didn't really work for this one. We've definitely got quite a few 2-player things in the hopper and that we've looked at in the past. And the politics version of this when it started was 2-player. At the point where it became social deduction, it became a bit too zero-sum to be 2-player still, so we just kind of let it drift up to 3 and above, and goes from 3 to double boxing to 10 players.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, it looks like it's the type of game that you can kind of scale up to have a lot more players than it just says on the box, which is always kind of interesting, and also obviously makes people want to pledge for 2 copies instead of kind of the one. The one kind of copy. In terms of kind of once you had everything kind of there, was there stuff that you've taken out that you had to scale back, that you had to strip out in order to kind of streamline the game experience?
Yeah, I mean, we took out objective cards. So, Iteration 1 had a different deck for the contract cards than from the cards that were dealt to the players. So that changed because that just turned out to be administratively quite fiddly. And it was quite easy to end up mixing the 2 decks. Then Iteration 2 had contract cards, which had a specific heist objective in different situations. And then we took those out because whilst they were good, they didn't... There's a bit of background noise. They didn't necessarily add as much as the complexity that they added. So I think for a player who wanted a heavier game, the objective cards are really good, but for a true kind of party game, they didn't work as well. So it was just kind of finessing it to the audience, hopefully, meant that we ended up with the version that it is today.
Okay, we used to have bidding as well at some point, with contract bidding.
Right, okay.
There was bidding, there was betting as well, a bit of gambling.
I just figured when you take mechanics away and just pare it down to the bare minimum, you actually get a more accessible and simpler game. So,
and we decided to run with that. Okay. We'll market it as a game that you can teach to other people very easily and get them into sort of the world of board games.
And then we'll put a weather dice in at the end afterwards.
I mean, is that important to you guys to make sure that, for your first game, that the game is kind of very accessible, that it's easy to kind of pick up and play, and that, people can just feel comfortable with jumping in and kind of getting involved?
I think that's how it evolved eventually, because as a first project, we wanted to make sure that we can deliver, so remove the risks as much as possible. Obviously, make a game that works, and keep simplifying it until it's good.
Okay. In terms of the game art, was that something that you did in-house, or did you farm that out to kind of like someone else?
We found an artist in Romania, and through some connections I had, and that's how we found them.
It's very striking. I mean, that's one of the things about the game, is it's not tried to be kind of... The easier route would be obviously to be going down the kind of the overly realistic route. But you've gone for something that's very, very not simplistic, not simple, but very, very striking in terms of kind of like the colour scheme and things like that. Which is, I mean, I guess you've got a very, very small time to kind of show what the message of the game is, how easy it is to play, you know, what the kind of the general theme is. Exactly. And that was one of the things that I've noticed when I've seen it, is it's like, it's very clear. It's very clear, very quickly, what kind of game you can expect to kind of be finding. With you guys being a team of 4, has it been easier to delegate tasks to people, while you've been kind of working on the kicks, while you've been working on the Kickstarter, Sean? Has Hai been a good boss, or has he got you working lots and lots of hours while he catches up on say watching Netflix, for instance? Or do you feel he's pulling his weight?
No, he definitely leads by example, let's say. He's put a lot of work into it.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, with you being kind of like the team of 4, has it been easier for you to kind of like work on your own sections to kind of bring it together? Has that made kind of organising the Kickstarter kind of like a much more kind of straightforward kind of process, rather than you all having to kind of like concentrate on, one section at a time, or being as like an individual having to do everything yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we split up the tasks quite cleanly, so one of us deal with sort of writing email copy or Kickstarter copy. One of us would look into the production. One of us look into fulfillment, and then each of us would get together to review what we'd done. So we get a lot of feedback as well. So I think it works pretty well.
Okay. Is there spreadsheets?
Yes.
There is a Trello that nobody except me looks at. And
I've logged into Trello now. I've logged into Trello.
And Robert has managed to log in a week ago. A week ago. And I've set up the Trello possibly beginning of the year. But that's
I've got email notifications from Trello.
Oh, really? You must get a lot of them then.
I get a lot. Hai has moved this task that was assigned to you to complete.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad it's marked as complete as well, as being complete.
That's because he knows it's done. He knows he couldn't be bothered going into Trello to mark it as completed.
I just stick to the spreadsheet.
I've used Trello at work, and that's why I'm kind of chuckling away, because it's the type of thing. It's the type of thing I would do. It's kind of
don't listen to Sean.
Don't ask. Sean's just got his clever trousers on today.
I mean, Michael's just found out there's Trello, right? So
So nobody knows this, even on these guys. So here's a small secret. I just spent a whole day trying different project management tasks, applications. Sorry, I think there's one. I'm not going to advertise it, but I tried like 5 different ones, and because I didn't want to bother these guys, I made up 3 email addresses for them, so I could register 4 different accounts to test them out. Yeah, their faces are hilarious.
Email address for me.
Yeah, and then I just went back to Trello. Yeah, I still get 4 emails per each service advertising their services. Hello, Sean. Hello, Robert. Hello, Michael. But it's just me.
There is some level of GDPR that just got breached in some horrible way.
Oh no, well. Gmail allows you to generate new email addresses, so that's what I used.
It's all coming out now, isn't it? This is all this, you know what I mean? You're almost funded. This is when it all starts to crack. This is like this is like the beginning, and it's like that controversial first album where it turns out it sounded fantastically sweet, but in the background, the fights that were going on were absolutely ridiculous, all evolving around project management. That's still something I confess. That reminds me of somebody saying, do you know what? I'm having a real trouble trying to keep on top of the dirty washing. And the other person says, do you know what? Just put it in that basket in the corner. I put all my stuff in there, and see about 3 days later after I put it in that basket, I find it in the other cupboard and it's all clean. It's a miracle. So this is it. This is High sitting there going, look, I am in charge of this and I've tried to make this happen. And he's like claiming full responsibility, I think, you know. I use Trello myself.
I wanted to click on people's faces and tell them what to do. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what you're going to do once this Kickstart. Oh, well, no, I suppose once the Kickstarter's over, then you have to go into Trello Overdrive, because then you have to make sure that the game actually reaches kind of people's homes and people's houses, and that's going to be Trello-tastic.
Half of the cards already talk about production.
Really? That's cool. So have you gone into this with a view of getting as much done as possible before the campaign finishes then?
Yeah, we've been looking at manufacturing options and where to make the metal coins and all of that, and there's been lots and lots of discussion about shipment. So we feel like we have reasonable handle on things. Obviously, once we actually go into do the real thing, then we'll learn a lot more. Yeah. I think that's the first time that people learn about logistics, is when they all of a sudden realise they've got to send 500 things out to people, and they've realised it's become a sudden reality. Yeah. In terms of the manufacturing, are you keeping it within the UK? Or are you kind of going into like, are you sourcing into kind of Europe? Or are you going to kind of like China to get the cards kind of made up? Are you looking at your options at the moment? We're looking at options, but most likely we'll have to go abroad for this. Yeah.
Is that just to keep the kind of the costs and stuff down then?
Yeah, we'd have to keep the costs down. The game is £12, and the Kickstarter wisdom is, I can't remember, something like 4 times, 5 times of the production cost is your retail price or something like that. So we're not really making this to make any profit. We just want to make a game, but that people will enjoy. But we also want to run it a bit like a business, so making sure that we don't lose money just because we wanted to make something like this. To make it. What's it
been like from the marketing point of view? As a new guy on the block. Not obviously just one guy, obviously there's 4 of you. But what has it been like kind of getting the word out there, getting the name out there, building the audience, building the brand? Is that been another kind of step out the comfort zone? Has that been a relatively easy thing to do, or is it are you being surprised by the amount of effort, or how little effort you've had to put in to kind of build up an audience?
I think it's been interesting. It's been difficult at times, and then sometimes kind of you seem to suddenly get like a little breakthrough and things go really well and people like it, retweet it, post it again on Instagram or like it on Instagram, whatever, and suddenly it's you get a little burst and it seems like it's going really well, and then it's quite difficult to judge. I think I also do reviews outside of the design work that I do. I do some review work that I've been doing for about a year now, maybe a little bit more, and so I know a few people through that, and they've been really kind and supportive of us and helped us build our audience. So that's been a big part of it and really helpful.
What kind of review stuff is it you do?
I do reviews for different games, and I do strategy tips for people who have not played the game many times but kind of want to learn about how they might beat the person in their group who's always winning that game. It's called elusivemeeple.com.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That rings a bell. I mean, there's lots of obviously people called Meeple.
Yeah.
But the elusive one definitely, the elusive thing definitely rings rings a kind of bell. You should have said. We just had you on by yourself. We could have left the other guys. Could have a good chat about reviewing games and content creation. It's all right. We can get you back on another time. I'll be fine. But I mean, with you kind of having that, with you having that experience, did that make it kind of easier for you to know who to speak to, who to get the attention of? And things like that, kind of when you were looking to build the kind of the audience.
I mean, it certainly gave us a few kind of little bits of conventional wisdom, as it were, that I've tried to pick up over the year. Things like the Follow Friday and all of those kind of things that we just hopped on immediately, of like making sure we engaged with the community and supported other people as well. And actually, that's been really great, because actually we've met loads of new people through that, and that's been pretty exciting to hear what other people are up to and see what other people are doing. So. Mm-hmm.
If you had known that Hai was talking to me about coming on the show, would you have stopped him?
Oh, no, I did know.
Did you?
Yeah.
And you said yes?
Yeah.
God, that's nice of you. To get involved in the project, to get yourself pledged, to get yourself a copy, how much is it going to be to get involved, really?
Yeah, the basic game is £12 for the product itself and £4 shipping. The double copy is £20 and £6 shipping, and the deluxe copy, or the informant, as it's called on the Kickstarter, is £55 and
I think the same shipping as
the double, because it's a double copy, so it's
yeah.
But that's all UK shipping assumptions. There's various prices for Europe and US, of course. Wanted to make sure it was globally available. But we tried to keep it a good price point for people to enjoy. A small kind of fun compact card game.
So the shipping to UK is definitely the most affordable, I guess, because we're distributing from the UK and we made the game here, so we wanted to make it appealing to you. We spelled honor right, so we wanted to entice.
I think people should back you just on that, because I'm looking at a copy of No Honor Among Thieves, and I'm actually tempted to get some Tipp-Ex and a biro and just sort out the spelling on that, because every time I look at it, the grammar person inside me goes, "It's a U! It's got a U in it!" There's no, I'm calm. I've actually got myself kind of staring at it on a regular basis to help me realise I can kind of overcome my barriers and my hurdles in my life. Have you been pleasantly surprised by the amount of interest that's in the game and the level that you're at just now? Because it's fairly, Kickstarter is a battlefield at the best of times, and everybody's kind of vying for a bit of attention and a bit of a pie. And for everyone that I see that does kind of really well, and there's ones that just kind of break the glass ceiling, like say, Microbrew by One Free Elephant that went on to do like six figures. But for every one of those, I also see another one which kind of, it makes its target, but kind of, it gets funding but it was kind of a bit squeaky bum time towards the end. I guess Dice Summoners is probably kind of the latest one. And then there's other ones which are they just don't seem to kind of maybe get the traction, and it's impossible to kind of tell. So from your point of view, have you been like, actually, this isn't just kind of like a game that we used to play, it's not a game that we've had play tested, it's not a game we've just done the graphics for, but this is potentially, with the way things are going just now, this is going to become an actual kind of reality. Is that kind of like a weird situation to kind of be in, I guess?
And I'm pretty excited about it. It's slightly kind of weird. I was definitely like freaking out a little bit on day one when looking at it and going, have we done enough? Has it got enough of an audience? And will we get there? And then day 2 was great, and day 3 was pretty good too. And then suddenly we were quite a lot of the way there, and it's just ticked up nicely since. And I know at least on my part, I spend half my day staring at Kickstarter now, and the little breaks I get, have a little look, see if anyone backed, be super grateful if they did, be super sad if they didn't.
Yeah. Spend the other half a day also looking, so make sure when Robert is not good looking, then I'm looking.
See, taking it in turns and taking it in shifts, kind of thing. What about building the community? What about building the community within Kickstarter, as in kind of making sure you're kind of responding to kind of comments, you know, kind of trying to get a little bit of a conversation kind of going within, you know, the kind of the campaign itself. Have you been conscious of kind of making sure you're kind of putting up updates, that you're keeping kind of people informed and things like that?
Well, we've been responding to every individual backer personally and thanking them. Some of them do reply, and then we have a conversation. We do have one very excited backer who's been sort of commenting every time we reach some sort of milestone, possibly before we even notice. So I think it's very, very keen. And we are excited about anyone who likes our game, and we try to engage with them because we're very happy that people like it.
Yeah. Is that strange to get someone like that? I remember speaking to Mark Neidlinger from Orange Nebula when they were doing when they were bringing kind of Vindication, and they were saying that the entire community kind of took off, and it was almost like a case you got people kind of answering questions about the rule books, or people kind of backing you up when, you know, or egging things on, or saying, oh, share these links, share this, let's get some kind of noise out there. Is it strange to see somebody that you know doesn't actually have anything more than maybe a financial commitment to the project to be kind of so vocal and so kind of like a little like a cheerleader in your corner, kind of like willing you on and hoping you succeed? Is that kind of a cool thing to have?
I mean, I found it amazing, the support that we've got from backers who we don't know, whether it's through the comments on Kickstarter. Some of them have messaged us and told us different review sites that they read and listen to and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we've followed up with them. And I mean, you know, some of the support that we've got from people has just been incredible. And like, it's really like, it's the nicest thing that happens out of the project. And you read all the horror stories about people who go on and comment nasty things on the internet, and actually to have people who genuinely just go on and say nice things and actually want to be helpful and positive, it's incredibly nice.
Yeah, that would be.
Shout out to Team Trevor as well, who have been very supportive.
Hey,
Team Trevor.
Good, go Team Trevor. And people are going, what? It's like, go to hashtag Team Trevor. And you'll learn. We're all find it more. Indeed, we're the kind of the bunch that's. I think it came as a joke, and then somebody says, "What do we call ourselves?" We went Team Trevor, and then it seems to be growing every kind of Friday. And you know, I'm just, you know, it's become a thing. We need to get T-shirts. That's all I'm saying. But going forward, is the mindset changed slightly in the team that is now a case of? It's no longer a case of, let's see how this goes, and then we'll think about the next game, to actually saying, right, okay, let's see what the next game is going to be. Let's start to think about what we're going to do this, how we're going to approach it, what our plans are going to be. Or are you already planning the kind of the next game down the line for kind of like Slight Games then?
No, I wouldn't say so. We definitely want to ship this game first.
Yeah. Are you kind of being kind of softly kind of approach and wait and see what actually happens before you jump on anything else then?
Yeah. I'd say let's see if we fund first. I mean, we're not there yet. It feels close, but
anything could happen.
Yeah.
But you must be excited though.
Definitely
we are excited.
Yeah. After that first day,
I
feel like it could have gone either way, but after the first day, we reached £1,000. So happy with that. I feel like, yes, it's actually could happen.
So weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a very big funding goal, but it's our baby, and we're excited about it. And that people like it,
exactly.
Like the game, like it enough to support it, and we're very grateful for that.
If you could, I mean, if say this romps home and everything goes, well, and it's all funded and it gets kind of goes out there and gets distributed and everybody starts playing it and Slight Games moves on to the next project, what would you like to do yourselves? What would your ideal game be? And I want you to give me an answer each. I don't want the group answer. I'd like to hear kind of what you would like, what's your ultimate game that you would like to create would be. Rob?
Ooh. I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to rip off all of the games I really enjoy. What would my ideal be? I think it would be some horrible blend of an 18xx game and Food Chain Magnate. It would just be, it would be brutal. It would involve mergers and companies, and there'd be different points for your company as to your player, and it would be a brutal company-based game. I love Acquire, I love 18xx games, I love Food Chain Magnate and Indonesia and Antiquity. So it'd be in that ilk.
What would you call it?
Ooh.
Give it a name, come on. Give it a name, make it exist, Robert, come on. Give it a name.
I feel like I'm now biased by the A, fact that I'm staring at a heist game as I talk about this, and B, the fact that we had a conversation about creating a money laundering game earlier. Somehow it would be a money laundering game.
Snitch follow-up.
Snitch. Dirty money.
You've got the loot, you've got to...
Snitch 2, snitch harder. What about you, Sean? What kind of game would you like to see? If you could go ahead and do anything at all, what would you like to see kind of coming out or getting added to the kind of the Slight Games portfolio?
So I really like economic games, almost economic simulations even. So anything with sort of a market involved, bidding, prices fluctuating. So something on those kind of lines.
Cool. Okay. And what about you, Hi? What would you like to see, or you've probably got ideas?
Well, if I can speak on behalf of Michael, because I think he's got a cool project too. He made this game about rewilding, which I thought, in terms of theme, was quite very new, and I was blown away by that. Mm-hmm. The game had lots of cards and had lots of fiddly bits and pieces, but I like the idea and the sort of the setup. I thought it was cool.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Cool. And I generally would like to help other people bring their ideas to reality, because I don't really have any ideas.
Oh, come on. That's so diplomatic.
Compact answer.
It is.
He's an execution
it's a
guy.
game
It's the best kind of guy.
It's a game called Cop Out. And the idea is that you have to let's make this now, Hi. Okay. The idea of Cop Out is that you
he's logging into Trello.
You have to play a level or a certain number of excuse cards in order to get away with something. Now,
they're very British
excuses game. They have influences over how the rest of the people kind of view you. So you can play kind of extreme excuse cards, and people will either be sympathetic towards you or think that you are taking the Michael. And the idea at the end of the day is you've got to try and get away with as many outrageous kind of excuses as possible. And how you do that is by building up your sympathy side. So that takes you into the positive, and then that allows you to kind of subtract the ridiculous excuses for kind of later on. There you go. Cop Out. You know, like social game, four player game. Get it made. There you go.
I feel like you can use quite a lot of the fog of love mechanics for that, going back and forward on the dials there.
If I was to make a game, then I think I would focus on experiences. I was toying with the idea of a game that about memory loss. I haven't really made it work yet, but it's something I would find interesting.
And Hi just wins the show. That's it. Show's over, folks. I'd like to actually see that more. Where am I? Mum?
Well, you were thinking of a game about weather gods or something like that, at least.
That's happening. You have no idea how many DMs I have at the moment. I have about 57 different mechanics about the weather dogs, the weather gods. Is definitely going to happen in one way, shape or another. I might release 3 or 4 different games because people are saying this has to happen. It's like, okay, it'll happen. It'll be coming to Kickstarter later on next year.
Is it going to come with snow and rain? Or maybe in the deluxe version?
I think that would be hilarious if you actually just sent out bags of water to people. Or a little jar of air, and go, there you go, there's your wind. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. If people want to keep an eye on you lot, but not Michael because he couldn't be bothered showing up, where do we? So I'm not going to forget this, Michael. You might be listening now. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you right now. I'm looking at you too. Yeah. Anyway, if people want to find you on the internet webs, where do we find you on the internet webs, gentlemen?
Well, we are Slight Games, pretty much everywhere. So that's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google
www.slightgames.co.uk
and the website as well.
Excellent. If you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, and after listening to this, we kind of hope you do. We hope at least 15% of you kind of do, because, that's how these things go. You can find us on Twitter, which is We're Not Wizards. You can find us on Facebook, which is, guess what, We're Not Wizards. You can find us on Instagram, which is We're Not Wizards. You can find us on YouTube. And then you can find us on all these podcast places. You've got we're on Spotify, and we're on Stitcher and Spreaker and Acast. You can go onto our website, which is we'renotwizards.com. You can go onto our blog, which is we'renotwizards.blogspot.com. If you like swords. Gentlemen, do you like swords?
Sounds like a no.
You don't like swords? How can you not like swords?
Who needs swords when you have magic?
I don't even want to
much prefer wands, but yeah.
Right, okay, this is rubbish. I'm going to just completely cut the whole thing.
Uh-oh.
It's just an absolute disaster. Would you like to win a game about making a sword? And the answer to that is yes.
I mean, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Hang on,
Definitely, okay.
I want to know how you make a sword. What game is this?
Okay, well, we are giving away a copy of the game Sword Crafters by Adam's Apple Games. And in order to win a copy of Sword Crafters by Adam's Apple Games, we want you to do one thing and one thing only, which is to send us a photograph of you with a sword that you've crafted. It can be out of anything. Lego, cheese, carpets, line up a fleet of cars so overhead it looks like a big sword. Whatever you want, show us your chopper. If you want to do it on Twitter, just use the hashtag I'm a sword crafter, not a wizard. Okay? Not a wizard. Thanks very much. And we will be picking an entry, me and Adam from Adam's Apple Games, when we get entries in for us to look at. And what we'll do also, gentlemen, is we'll take the links that you've given us this evening and we'll put them in the show notes so that we have notes to show. What else was I going to say? Oh, Apple Podcast joke. 10 stars if you like us. Don't give us 0 stars because that makes us cry. Give us 5 in the middle because it's average and we're decidedly average. But the people that have not been average tonight, it's Sean. It's Robert. It's Hi. It's not Michael. It's Slight Games. Thank you very, very much for coming on, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
It's been an absolute pleasure. There's only 2 more things to do. And I'm dreading this next bit after the chat that we had when we organised this conversation in the first place. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, gentlemen?
No, Harry.
I confirm I am not a wizard.
Certainly not.
Absolutely fantastic. And the second thing to do is to say goodbye. So it's a good goodbye from the gentleman at Slight Games. Say goodbye, Hi.
Goodbye, Hi.
Say goodbye, Sean.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Robert.
So long.
Say goodbye, Michael. We can't say goodbye because you're not here. So there you go. And
You said it at the beginning of the show.
I don't care. He's getting cut out. I have the power to edit things, stuff, and everything like that.
Just don't sass him too much. It's bigger than
and
us.
Good. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe. Roll6s.com. And if you're after something nice and nifty and a little bit shifty, and you want to be accusing people or kind of stealing from them, to try and get the upper hand, then have a look at Snitch. It's almost there. It's almost funded. Check it out. We'll put the link in the show notes. But until the next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.